I want to go home.
But 96-year-old Margaret Langerby is not allowed to go home. She's now a ward of the state of Texas. That's because lawyers convinced a Texas judge that Margaret was mentally incompetent. She now has no control over her own money. The lawyers decide when she can have visitors, even her own family. They control every single penny of her estate, which is worth over $12 million, including this 1,000-acre ranch in Gonzales.
I'm so damn sick, tired of all those people and stuff. I'm miserable.
And sadly, Margaret isn't the only one.
My human rights and civil rights, so-called, have been terminated by the state.
Meet Shelley Thompson. The Texas court system says she's mentally incompetent too. Shelley is literally locked up in a nursing home in New Braunfels.
We do not have freedom. We don't have liberty. I am not a legal person. I am a possession of my state-appointed guardian.
Went on active duty in 1950 when the Korean War started.
Colonel Lee Roper has been given the same lonely fate, and his wife of over 26 years, well, she's mad as hell.
Let me warn you, and I'm prepared to fight. I don't give a shit, I'll fight.
Guardianship exploitation is the crime of the 21st century.
You can't find Guardians Inc. on Netflix or anywhere else for that matter. You guessed it, the lawyers got this documentary killed, and now they're trying to silence us.
Who is James Dolcefino? Or Wayne Dolcefino?
The lawyer who will hopefully get to learn my name for sure in the coming months is Brian Thompson of the Austin law firm of Hopper and McKeska, and he's questioning Lillian Smith. She is Margaret's daughter.
Who is Wayne Dolcefino?
Wayne Dolcefino is a media investigator, I guess. That's what.
How do you know that?
Pull up his website.
Have you spoke to him?
Hey, Brian, we investigate injustice, corruption, and fraud. And yes, Lillian Smith hired us to investigate why families are being torn apart, why the lawyers and the doctors make so much money off other people's pain.
Well, I know that he's been harassing my law partner and the judge in this case.
Right. I sent a couple of letters in the mail and called them on the phone. How scary. I wrote the judge we were investigating guardianship, and she wrote back that she couldn't talk about pending cases. But we can. And guys like Brian Thompson make me want to ask more questions. Lillian Smith gave him an earful.
The first thing you came out of the box is to sue my family and to make your law firm a hell of a lot of money. You haven't done anything but make your law firm a lot of money, period. And it's you, Guardian, it's people like you that take advantage of the elderly.
The Texas system is broken.
Rick Black runs a nonprofit called the Center for Estate Administration Reform. He's fought thousands of crooked guardianships all over the country.
It becomes a system perfectly designed by attorneys to serve attorneys in the most perverted cases.
And the lawyers apparently don't like our investigation. Our records have now been subpoenaed, and we have a court hearing to stop it all before Judge Gladys Burwell on January 31st.
His effort was purely done as an intimidation move.
In Margaret's case, the guardian is Austin attorney Craig Hopper. Let's connect a couple of dots. Hopper used to be the clerk for the chief probate judge in Texas, Guy Herman. The Office of Court Administration tells us Hopper has been appointed by Herman at least 32 times as a guardian just since 2019. He's picked by judges appointed by Herman too.
I want to mention something you may already realize, that Mr. Hopper's paper, The Role of the Guardian, was written at my request.
We looked at the bills in Margaret's case. A $12 million estate, remember. In 1 year, Hopper asked for nearly $100,000 in commissions for handling real estate transactions for the estate. That's right. Not only do guardians get paid hourly, they get commissions too by selling stuff owned by the ward, in this case Margaret. And Hopper has lawyers too, of course. In this case, his own law firm, his law partner at Hopper and McKeska, the guy who wants to know so much about me but doesn't have the guts to call me. In just 1 year, the firm was paid over $159,000 in legal fees. All that money came from Margaret's estate. A lawyer for Margaret's granddaughter called the whole thing a conflict of interest that, quote, severely prejudices Miss Langerby.
The legal community has carved out this profit center that is quite lucrative to a very, very small portion of the legal community that makes their living right in that pocket.
Here's a question. Even if a court allows a guardian for finances, why not let the family still care for their relative in the home they knew? Margaret was moved to a house 2.5 hours away from her great-grandchildren against the recommendation of her lawyers. Instead, a company called Care4 has been hired to care for Margaret. In 1 year, the company got paid over $300,000. You guessed it, from Margaret's estate. All 3 of these cases we've talked about, and there are so many more, also involve the same doctor. The one who decides, sometimes in less than an hour, that people are mentally incapacitated. His name is Dr. Jason Schillestrom, a geriatric psychiatrist at UT San Antonio. He hasn't returned my phone calls, so we couldn't ask if he ever finds his patients competent. But we watched his lecture from 2012, where he cracks a joke about another case in historic Gonzales, where they commemorate the first shot of the Texas Revolution.
Their motto is actually "come and take it," which is actually what we did for this older man. We came and took him.
I'm not an expert on geriatric humor, but that's not funny. Neither is what happened to Lillian Smith when she was put under oath. Watch what happens after the deposition is over. The court reporter stops, but the video camera doesn't.
So I want to say one thing is, if y'all are really going to make an effort at settling these things, and you don't want us to get in the way, this like docile female or whatever is bullshit needs to stop.
Are you kidding me? But you saw it. Threatening a woman simply because she wants us to investigate who's making money off the guardianship system, off her own mother in fact, is just wrong. The judge should put a stop to that. If the lawyers think Margaret's family owes her money back because they borrowed some or spent some they shouldn't have, that's not my fight, but I do have a question. If the woman is now mentally incompetent, how do the lawyers know she didn't want them to have the money? We think the guardianship game in Texas really needs some sunshine, and we don't take kindly to threats.
I know there's places for guardianship, but now it's become white collar crime. It's exactly what it is.